Hey there Twisters, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be breaking down the ugliest jerseys of all time in the Brad Marchand division. So we've got 16 ugly jerseys here that we're going to pare down and eliminate one by one and really determine who represents this division best in our March Madness style jersey ranking or countdown, if you will. Now make sure that you're tuning in by clicking the red subscribe button down below as well as the notifications bell, that way you know when the rest of the series is going live. Before we get started, I wanted to shout out a few channels here on YouTube. Check these channels out, give them a sub, give them a like, and see what they're all about. So the first guy I want to shout out here is Touchdowns to Home Runs. That's Noah. He's covering all sports, all the big main sports, providing logo and jersey rankings, news and opinion pieces as they emerge. I definitely like what I see from his channel so far, especially with NFL free agency here. So go check him out. Nordic 97, he's based in Flyers country. I don't know why he has a Nordiques logo, but that's a good choice nonetheless as his profile. So check him out for all things hockey in general. Windy City Hockey, Nick over in the St. Louis area technically, but he's a Hawks fan. Let's make no mistake about that. So for all things Blackhawks and just an amazing historical knowledge of that franchise and a great contributor to this channel as well. So check out Nick. And then lastly, Professor Hockey for San Jose Sharks fans like myself who want good game recaps and news as it emerges from Sharks territory, even though I think he's based in Quebec, but giving him a shout out here, so check him out too. All right, friends, so without further ado, let's get to the madness. And so we're going to start out with two jerseys from 2007. We've got the Colorado Avalanche and the Edmonton Oilers. So I selected Colorado and Edmonton here because with 2007, it was so weird when Reebok came in with the weird piping, and it just looks really bad on both of these jerseys. Just the cropping, the lack of a waist stripe or a design to the waist there. And so I just don't like either of these jerseys. Nonetheless, I think it's pretty easy for me to make this call here. Although I like the Oilers logo more, I think the Avs at least have a little bit more of an interesting color play. They even have shoulder logos, and Edmonton's is pretty plain here unless I'm missing the shoulder logo there, because I know it was on the jersey before Reebok. But nonetheless, I still think that Edmonton's is a little bit more bland in comparison, even though it has one of the better logos in the NHL. Not to mention Colorado has a unique arched font and unique design to the numbers there too. So I'm going to say that the Oilers are going into the next round. Then we've got the Oilers again. First of all, we have their 2001 alternate, the Todd McFarlane, going up against the 2013 Carolina Hurricanes candy cane design. So the Oilers here, I chose this because this has really nothing to do with the Oilers franchise. I know that obviously they've made the rivets there. That's an homage to their 5 Stanley Cups, so at least there's some significance there. And I mean, kudos to them for wanting to try something different. But nonetheless, I mean, this is just really not something that fits in with their family of jerseys. I think even the alternate they have now is more representative of the Oilers franchise. And as for the Hurricanes, red and white, there's no real silver. It's just kind of plain there. So, kind of hard to make a call on this one. I like the Oilers color scheme here, although we don't really understand what's going on with that logo so much. At least it's interesting. I mean, I kind of like the numbers on the armbands too. That's something that you don't always see in this era. And then as for the Canes, I mean, again, I know that we're only rating the jerseys and not the uniforms overall, but considering I never was a fan of just that logo so much, I mean, it looks good maybe in other, like on hats or on merch or whatever, or sized down, but it's kind of plain just for the jersey, for an NHL jersey and the rest of the design. So while a lot of people would probably want to move the Oilers forward and think that it's one of the ugliest logos ever and one of the ugliest jerseys, I'm gonna shake things up a bit. I'm gonna say that the Carolina Hurricanes are gonna move on to the next round. Next up, this is a really interesting matchup. We have the 2020 Colorado Avalanche Stadium Series jersey against the 1928 Pittsburgh Pirates. Now the Pirates, I chose this version because they have some interesting designs. They were all very different from each other, but it's kind of forgiving in this picture here, but from what I saw in NHL uniforms, that color scheme was pretty ugly. There's no real logo, it's just the text. It's not even in the center, it's up here, so that's kind of weird. It's not really well composed overall. And then Colorado, this is a disaster, frankly. I like the concept of kind of a new take on sort of the Rocky Mountain sort of logo that they've used in the past. I just don't like how it comes up to the collar here. I think that is so weird. It's almost like a bib. I just can't get behind that. At least the numbers are kind of interesting. I wish I would have seen more from the striping and whatnot. You can find some enjoyment in this design, even though I think it's butt ugly. But nonetheless, the Pirates. This is just. I'm gonna go ahead and move the Pirates into the next round. Now we've got the 2000 Nashville Predators Mustard Cat going up against the 2007 St. Louis Blues. So with the Blues, I thought that this was maybe their ugliest jersey and that it was a poor transition from CCM to Reebok. I don't like the shoulders at all, and I just don't like how the Blues, kind of gradually got away from their classic look from 1967. Nonetheless, at least it has, I like the yellow numbers, and it still has, the key elements of the St. Louis Blues for the most part. So really, the idea of having an alternate is fine for Nashville, but man, I would not have gone with that shade of yellow whatsoever. I don't even know if you can call it yellow. It's Dijon. I don't know what it is. So while I don't like St. Louis's execution, Nashville here, this is just by far and away the uglier jersey, so it's going to the next round. Now we've got the 2007 Dallas Stars going up against the 2009 Florida Panthers alternate. So with Dallas here, they're just getting rid of any sense of a logo. Color scheme wise, I still think it's interesting. I like the shoulder logos with that as well, but really there isn't all too much going on here. Black jerseys are usually a safe bet for a lot of teams, but here, considering this team has moved away from green at this point, I just don't like it whatsoever. Florida, I know that the two-tone blue is something I'm usually a fan of for the most part, but here what I didn't like was the actual logo. I usually like circle logos, but without giving it the Panther a body, it just looks kind of clip arty, I guess, kind of stock image-esque. But overall, I'll give Florida the benefit of the doubt, and that the actual design of the jersey is, I think, pretty pleasant. I'm just not a fan of the logo itself. So with that said, Dallas is certainly moving into the next round. Interestingly enough, we have Stars and Florida Panthers matched up again here. The Stars jersey is actually the last one that the Minnesota North Stars had worn before they moved to Dallas. So that's definitely a departure from the classic North Stars design. Whereas with Florida, they still have all the same elements. It's just that they've changed from red to navy here as their full-time jersey. And of course, Reebok with those really weird piping lines and a lack of a waist. I'm not a fan of that whatsoever, as you've seen already. That said, I mean, they still have the elements of the Florida Panthers in that jersey, whereas with the Minnesota North Stars here, for obvious reasons, they've made that departure. But as a fan, I would hate that. As actually a player, if I had been wearing the classic jerseys or the classic, North Stars logo, which is among the best, I don't think the design of this North Stars one is by any means anything to scoff at by itself, but considering contextually how that gets away from the franchise after all those decades, I'm going to go ahead and move the North Stars into the next round. Now we've got the 1995 Burger King from the LA Kings and the 1997 Washington Capitals. Now for the Caps, when it came out as an alternate, I guess that's kind of cool because it's unique. You've already got the Screaming Eagle. I just wasn't a fan of them moving to this as their full-time jersey at home. From a design level, I think it's overall well laid out for the most part. I'm not a fan of the actual font itself, but overall, striping and the logo composition, that's cool stuff. But when you've gone away from red, white, and blue, that's kind of questionable, I think, and I just don't like that bronze color. I think it's pretty hideous. Whereas with the Kings, oh my goodness, where to begin with this? First of all, what the hell is this sash gradient going on here? What is that? Whatever this purpley gradient thing is, I don't know what to call that. The numbers, they're kind of unique, and at least the font is unique as well, but nonetheless, I think it can't hold a candle to just how well composed the chevron design was. So I think it's pretty much a no-brainer here. I'm moving the Kings into the next round. And then for our last matchup of the first round, we have the 2000 Pittsburgh Penguins alternate, which later became their home jersey, against the 2008 Atlanta Thrashers alternate. So the reason why I picked the Penguins here, this particular design, was because I was not a fan of the muted yellow at all. Yeah, I mean, you already have the Steelers and the Pirates, very strong color schemes there. I don't know why they've decided to change this. I've never had a problem with, black and yellow together. And the fact that they actually stayed with this jersey for so long, I don't know why the heck they would do that. And then I've picked Atlanta because, kind of like the Islanders here, it's like a basketball jersey. The text there, Thrashers, I mean, looks like it would be, a logo for a meetup group that was congregating to appreciate heavy metal, and I most definitely support that. But I mean, come on, this is not a hockey jersey. You have this red color that I'm not a huge fan of. I mean, considering they had a powder blue jersey, even their original dark jersey was more interesting than what you have here. They've got kind of like this San Diego Chargers thing going on with the shoulders there, and so I can't even consider moving the Penguins to the next round because this Thrashers thing is no, it's a practice jersey at its best. It's certainly going to the next round. All right, guys, go ahead and take a look at the updated bracket. All right, let's get into the second round here, okay? So we're gonna start off with the 2007 Dallas Stars against the 2007 Edmonton Oilers. So, Dallas, no logo, clean, absolutely. Nice shoulder patches, I like those, certainly. But again, getting away from what was a classic design when you even came to Dallas in the first place. Edmonton, do not like the design whatsoever, but I like the logo, always have. And at least the color scheme and the armbands, that's at least consistent with what they had for their franchise. So I think it better represents the Oilers franchise than Dallas's does. So with that said, I'm going to push Dallas into the next round. Now we've got the 1991 Minnesota North Stars against the 2013 Carolina Hurricanes. So the North Stars, good looking jersey. Let's not get that wrong, but it's quite a departure from what they used to wear. And then Carolina, they still have similar elements, but where's the the storm flag pattern? Where's the silver? See, Minnesota, at least they had kind of a reason behind why they were doing this in the first place. And at least as somebody who wasn't growing up then as a fan of that team specifically, I can look at this and still say, hey, that's it's still a good looking jersey. It's not great, but I've seen worse out there. And Carolina, it's like, why? Why would you do this? Sure, you might think it's cleaner, but then again, it's less interesting to me. I don't think there's really much of a justification behind it. So Carolina's going to go to the next round. Now we've got the 95 Los Angeles Kings against the 1928 Pittsburgh Pirates. Both of these are pretty hideous, but with the Burger King, again, what is this? And I have no idea what that king is supposed to be. I mean, something out of like a comic book or something, I don't know, or a stock graphic now that I'm really looking at it. So really, that's hideous. Pittsburgh, I don't like it whatsoever, and I know it doesn't have a logo, but I mean, living back then and even living now, I would much rather put that on than put on whatever abomination that is in purple and gray and purple gray. Kings, you are definitely moving on. This one is definitely tough. 2000 Predators Mustard Cat against 2008 Thrashers Alternate. I don't know what to do with this one. They're both eyesores, don't get me wrong. Thrashers, I like the red more. I have no idea why they can't actually put their logo on there. It would actually look okay if you did that instead of the numbers. That is definitely a faux pas. Nashville, this color is just nauseating completely. So I think I can stomach what Atlanta is wearing more than I can Nashville. So with that said, the Preds go to the next round. Okay friends, time for the third round. Dallas, you got the shoulder logos, not bad, but you don't really have much else going on with it. It's not a real NHL jersey, but I've seen uglier, like this Kings one right here. What the hell is happening? Again, just this asymmetrical thing with, like, really, you might as well, instead of that king, you might as well put the Ralph Lauren logo on there, you know? Really, like, why would you put a logo there? You know, you put a crest there for soccer, but for hockey, I can't stomach this jersey. No way. Kings are going to the final round. And then we've got the 2000 Predators Mustard Cat against the Candy Cane of 2013. interesting because here we have an alternate, so the Preds were trying to do something different. The Canes dumbed down what they had. But you know what, with the Canes, I mean, we're not really expecting anything flashy from them anyway. It was a pretty small market at that time, especially. You know, simplifying the jersey definitely wouldn't put more butts in the seats. The logo isn't anything that I would write home about necessarily, but I mean, we've seen hockey jerseys look like this before. Yeah, it's pretty much a practice jersey, but Nashville's, I mean, why? I can't see much that's redeeming about this. The actual logo on the front, I feel like I'm gonna watch, you know, Power Rangers, and that is going to help assemble the Megazord. So really, that combined with the mustard, it's gonna give us the finals match that we definitely wanted for this video, and I can see no reason why we shouldn't. The Preds are going on to the final round. Oh my goodness, here we go, guys. I'm excited for this one. 2000 Nashville Predators, 1995 LA Kings. Wow, what a matchup. On one side, you have kind of a goofy logo and just an atrocious color. With the Kings, you have, yes, just a weird design overall. This terrible gradient and this goofy looking logo. They tried to put the regular logo on the shoulders there, but that doesn't really fit the color scheme either. Boy, where to go with this one? Okay, logo-wise, they both suck. On the jersey specifically, you know, Nashville's is more interesting though. I will say that. Color-wise, it pains me to go with LA, but really it's a white jersey with a really terrible gradient design. So LA, I think, is a little bit better in that sense. I really just don't know how to make a decision on this one. Terrible design, a terrible color. That's what it comes down to. Nashville's at least looks more like an NHL jersey, and it looks like kind of the backup option in case they didn't want to roll out the original Predators. I mean, all you gotta do is change that terrible color, and I think the jersey itself is fine. LA, you would have to do so much more. If you took the gradient off, you'd still have that weird logo placement. You'd still have kind of the weird looking numbers. You'd still have the shoulder logos that really don't fit in with the rest of the jersey, in my opinion. It's tough, and I know that there's definitely gonna be a difference of opinions here. But my winner of the Brad Marchand division is the 95 Burger King. So we've got one more division to take a look at shortly, so stay tuned for that. Make sure that you clicked the notifications bell if you haven't already and have subscribed to the channel. There are more jersey unboxings, more hockey history videos, all that good stuff ahead. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give it a big thumbs up. This has been Nick with Twisted Wrister Hockey. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you again soon.